Welcome to MoggyBoxCraft. I'm Deborah and today we're back in the garden. So it's the 21st of July 2020. So this is how the greenhouse is looking. We'll be doing a bit of a raised bed update as well, and the flower planter over there. I feel like there's a lot to do today in the garden. I mean, there's always a lot to do, isn't there? Where do you start? Do you guys ever feel like that? Leave it a few days and there's so much to do. So that's the end of my lockdown. I've gone back to work now. So there's not quite so much time for the garden anymore. So we've got to be efficient, or at least try to be. Before we get on to the rest of the garden, just going to show you what's going out of control and what I'm going to be changing and harvesting. And then later on we'll check on the garlic. Down here we've got the spinach. It's all kind of gone to flower. I think I'm just going to take out the spinach today. So we've got winter lettuce and iceberg lettuce here. I'm going to harvest those. Little gem lettuce at the back here. That's starting to go to seed and to flower. I'm going to harvest what I can off this. Then I think I'll move the aubergine to where the little gem lettuce was. We've been harvesting strawberries like crazy. We've got loads of them, and we do have a few runners now. Look at all these guys. Got another runner there. This box has been empty for a while. We'll prep that for runners to go into later on. Onto the raised beds. The potatoes. These are our early potatoes in here, and here is the rooster potatoes. So I think I'm going to harvest a little bit of this and see what we've got in there. We've got some courgettes to harvest down there. I can't decide. I really want to harvest the beetroot, but I think I might wait another week or so. So I think we'll wait another week to harvest the beetroot. Set onions. The first couple of rows of set onions I think I'm going to harvest. And I've got another spare clothes rail to hang them on. This one is a bit broken, so we just put a block of wood there and it's fine. It works great. I'm going to crack on with some of that, and then I will show you how the garlic is getting on. If you want to see how I harvested the garlic and how I let it dry out, I will link a video above so you can see how I did that last time. But before I get ahead of myself, let's crack on with some maintenance and get some harvesting done. So I've tidied up the greenhouse. This is how it is looking now. So the peas, I have no idea what's going on with these guys. So I've just taken off the worst of the dried dead pieces. I wonder if it's a little bit too hot in the greenhouse and I've slightly overwatered them, but there is signs of life. So I'm going to leave it to continue growing. Cayenne and jalapeno chilies. Cayenne seems to have been eaten by something, not sure what. This is the pepper F1 salad. I can just see the tiniest buds here, so maybe we'll get peppers. Hungarian black chilli, tiniest little bit of flower starting there. The sweet pepper F1 red skin. Look, my first pepper in there. And there is loads more potential of little flowers coming, so fingers crossed. So this is how the spinach is looking now. I've chopped off all the heads, removed all the overgrown leaves, and harvested some of the spinach to eat. Decided just to leave the spinach where it is. It's still producing spinach, so I might as well keep it. Lemongrass is definitely recovering, slowly but surely in the greenhouse. I've also harvested some of the winter lettuce and some of the iceberg lettuce up here in this corner. So this was little gem lettuce. I've harvested all that. So what I did was just chop off all the flowers. Then I harvested all the leaves that were edible. I've just popped my lettuce leaves into my basin, added some cold water, left them to soak for a little while, just to clean the lettuce. And I've got one of these, I don't know, cauldron spinny things. Popped some of the leaves in here. So I've got some spinach in here, iceberg, winter lettuce, and I think this is the little gem lettuce. Pop it in the bowl, pop the lid on, and just give it a spin. That's all the excess water in the bottom there. I do this a few times just to get rid of as much water as possible. Get my chopping board out. So I've got another Tupperware. So just pop a couple of sheets of kitchen roll into the bottom of the Tupperware. Chop up my lettuce. And I just throw that into my Tupperware with my kitchen roll. Another sheet of kitchen roll on top. Lid back on. Pop it back in the fridge and you've got lettuce that's clean, ready to use, and I swear this keeps everything so much fresher as well. And just repeat the process with the rest of your lettuce. This is now the proud home of the asparagus. So we've popped the asparagus there, and I've popped the aubergine in here, in between the peppers and the tomatoes. That does look like it could be a flower, but we'll have to wait and see. On to the tomatoes. So make sure to keep on top of your tomatoes. If you'd like to see how I support my tomatoes and how I look after them, I'll put a link up here. I have thrown in a little bit of feed into the tomato plants today, and I've just topped it off with a little bit of fresh soil and then watered them in. I think the tomatoes are finally starting to ripen. Hopefully we'll have a red tomato soon. On to the butternut squash. Look down here. Could that be a butternut squash? I really hope so. That is very exciting. Finally in the greenhouse, the sweet corn. So 2 weeks ago, I think they were about here, and I said they usually hit the top of the greenhouse, and yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Well, a lot of them look like they're starting to flower, or whatever it is that sweet corn do. So in the back there, that's the first corn of the cob I've seen forming. Definitely more forming over here. The first telltale is you can sort of see that bulge in the stalk. So that should be one forming there. There's another one in there. So yeah, I think this is all looking pretty good. And we'll see if the ones in the front here sort of start growing up as well as the ones at the back. I'm blinking delighted with how the sweet corn is looking. That's the greenhouse tidied up. Let's move on to the rest of the garden. Hi! Are you going to do some gardening with me? Are you helping? Not really. The rest of the flowers here are starting to bloom and really come to life. So we've got our first rose on this bush. We've got more wildflowers coming. Nasturtiums are starting to flower in my wee house. So all the herbs and everything are looking a little bit happier there. Blackberries are coming along, still ripening, not quite ready yet. Chico has devoured all my raspberries, and the red currants I have been harvesting away. I've already harvested everything off here, it's looking pretty bare. So I've still got all these red currants to harvest, and then we can crack on making some jam. These are the maro peas. They're looking a little bit sorry for themselves, so I'm going to harvest some of those today. Definitely harvest these guys before it's too late. The apples are looking really good this year. Climbing French bean. Still no beans, but definitely climbing. The bramble as well is looking fab. So much brambles on here, just waiting for them to properly flower and turn into brambles. This bed is where I planted the spring onions, lettuce and carrots last week. I think the carrots are starting to sprout just a tiny bit at the back there. We're going to tackle some of the potatoes. Some of the flower planters are looking fab. These guys are all flowering. I'm not sure this cutting has taken at all, but these guys are doing okay. And this flower plant is looking beautiful. My hydrangeas are starting to flower. Oh no! No, my sunflower! Ah! Oh dude, you're fine. You can do this. You've got this. Okay, I hope he's alright. Anyway, so this is the new planter that we put in this year. Well, Andy built it. I've just filled it full of flowers. Everything is starting to grow. Exciting news. We got new neighbours and they cut the hedge. So I wonder if what's helping is just having a little bit more light in the planter. This is definitely my best sunflower so far. We do have some other sunflowers, so sunflower. I know these ones are down here, but that's fine. We have our first flowers appearing in the bed. So we've got marigold, there's that petunia there. Some more marigolds down there. That seems to be all the flowers there are at the moment. Again, darkest part of the garden, so I'm not expecting miracles. Give it another month, and I think that should be lovely. So the black currants are definitely starting to ripen. I'm not going to have enough for them to do a whole lot with, so I thought I could just maybe throw them in with the red currants when I make jam. I think that's what I might do, because there's not a whole lot of them in here. And here is the garlic. And I did discover I've got 2 rogue onions in here. That is definitely not a garlic. So that's the garlic been drying for about a week now, I think. I'm just going to leave it in here a bit longer. I can still see quite a bit of green on this. I'm going to wait till it's all completely dry and they kind of look a bit more white like these ones. These are the testers I pulled out. Pretty pleased with how that's all progressing. I've also filled up this container and all I did is just fill it up with multi-purpose compost. I have watered it in slightly just so it stays damp. My runners are a little bit bigger. I shall plant them in here. Onto the potatoes. At the start of the year I planted rooster seed potatoes and Scottish seed potatoes. So these are early, so I probably should have harvested these by now, but I don't really have an excuse. At the top of the bed I put the Scottish seed potatoes. At the middle of the bed I put the roosters, but I'm going to harvest them. The early ones, I might leave the roosters in their main crop. So let's do that. So first I'm going to cut back some of these leaves. That's a good looking potato, isn't it? Dig up your tatties quite carefully if you've got quite solid soil, and don't stab them. Some of my soil is really clay based, it's really hard. When you're digging out your potatoes, try and even get all the little ones out, because that's how you end up with potato invaders. Yes! Probably should have put gloves on for this. Don't dig too close to your tatties. Try and go from the underneath or the side up, so you don't end up stabbing them. Yeah, we're getting some really good ones. Really pleased with them. It started to rain, so I stopped digging out the potatoes. What I have done is just cut all the potatoes back. And I've ended up just digging out just this small area here. I'm just going to leave the rest for a few weeks. Whenever I need potatoes, I'll just go and dig them out. They'll be totally fine in the ground, I'm sure. And here is my potato haul. Some of them are really big. Really pleased with them. Here are the maro peas that I've harvested. And we've got a massive bowl with strawberries as well. So these are the maro peas. Oh my goodness, just lost one. Yeah, they're looking good. So I'm going to get them shelled. So I shall freeze these until we need them. This is how the maro peas are looking now. Bit sparse really. I don't know if they'll come back to anything. There was, oh, I've missed a couple. Oh well. Set onions. So the first row, sort of from here and to the left, are onions from last year. Let's see what they're looking like. Oh, well actually, maybe we should harvest them. Let's go for it. I didn't think these onions were actually going to come to anything. So maybe not the best because they had gone to flower. Yeah, usually when they start sprouting, instead of cutting them off, you really just need to dig them up straight away. But that's okay. It's not the biggest onion, but I'm not heartbroken over it. To harvest my onions and dry them out, all I do is similar to when I harvested my garlic. Take a bunch of your onions, cut off all the stems, hold it over a bucket. Yeah, I don't know how good some of these onions will be, but we'll find out. So now I've cut off some of the tops, get an elastic band, tie them together, just hang them on a clothes rail and put them somewhere dry and cool so they can dry out. I'm just going to take 4 at a time because they're pretty chunky. Cut your stalks off, leave about 30 centimetres, get yourself an elastic band, tie around the top, pop it on your clothes rail. And I'm just going to carry on doing that with this first row of onions and we'll see how we get on. I've harvested the first 2 rows of onions. Those were the sets from last year that I was just trying out. And these are the onions we've got in. So I've popped the onions in my shed. That's the garlic just behind. And see how much they've dried out compared to onions now. So the onions can live here. It's cool, dry and dark. I've also got my potatoes down here. I'll just leave them to dry as well. And we'll come back in a week or 2 and see how they're all doing and give them a try. But yeah, some are quite a reasonable size. I just don't know how they're going to taste. In other exciting news, I think we've got a parsnip. That looks like a carrot. Could be a parsnip as well. I'm pretty sure that is a parsnip. This is a weed. So is that. Could that be another parsnip? And that? Maybe the parsnips are not lost after all. Hurrah. Carrots are coming on well. One wild carrot. Brussels sprouts. Another blinking weed. Oh my gosh, is that a parsnip there as well? Parsnips are going to be everywhere now. No. Oh, and it's starting to rain. Right, pumpkins seem to be doing okay. Look at this. That courgette. Oh my goodness. Courgette's massive. Loads more courgettes in here. Yeah, there's another one down here. Oh yeah, another courgette in there. Oh, and it's starting to rain into the greenhouse quickly. So I think the raised beds are quite happy. Oh, that's a nice bird poo on the window, isn't it? Can't believe all that potatoes just came out that tiny area there. We'll just dig up the rest of the potatoes when I need them. If you've enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment, and let me know how you get on with your garden. Subscribing is optional, but it is very much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! That's my gardening done for the day since the rain's come on. We'll just have to weed tomorrow. Can't get over those sweet corn. Look at them there. Can't believe how tall they've gotten in such a short space of time. It's crazy. It's not crazy, it's nature.